why you should blend Railroad and Sandbox into your storytelling. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to The Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire, bringing you another episode of Quick Tips for DMs, today talking about blending railroading and sandboxing styles of DMing. But before we get into that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there and hit the subscribe button and become a regular member here at The Gamer's Den. Join that legendary alumni. Or, if you've already made roll call on such a historic roster, then go on down there, hit the like button, and share the video far and wide to help us grow ever further and praise the almighty algorithm. But with all of that out of the way now, let's just go ahead and get a hold of the heart of the matter here. So, when it comes to mixing DMing styles of railroading or sandboxing, I find that working with both is best, because one of the issues with sandboxing that I sort of danced around with was that it can be very easy to just sit back one day and go, okay, what are you guys doing today? What do you want to do? What are you up to today? And really have not much in the way planned, and putting the onus totally on the players, when really, ideally, what you want to do is have a couple of prompts and ideas, calls to adventure, ready for them. What that is will kind of depend a little bit on the setting and the types of characters the players have made up, but by having an idea of a couple of different things that they could get into, even if it's just through your knowledge of the setting overall, that can serve as a solid basis for, getting them. What's your day like? How are you starting out? What are you going to go do? Here's a job listing here. Somebody's yelling for help over there. Blacksmith mentions that they're having trouble getting supplies in. All of these things are little tiny bits of conversation, everyday things, but you can use those as little hooks to kind of reel them in, so that when the players decide to bite and choose a particular course of action, whatever adventure they may be going on for the day, they feel a sense of ownership over that part of the story because they have agency. Now, they have agency on which one they latch onto, but once they're hooked into a story, then you can build on it from there. And as you gain more experience as a DM, you will learn how to just create whole things, conjure everything up in your mind out of whole cloth. Certainly that's kind of the point where I'm at now, but that's only after years and years of being a DM. I mean, I've been at it since I was 15. Oh my god, almost 19 years now, if I've done my math right. But all that aside, the point is that by letting the players feel like they have agency, letting them have that little bit of agency, they don't notice the tracks that you're setting them on. And bear in mind that with a railroad, once you buy a ticket, you can get off at your stop, but technically you could get off at whatever stop you really wanted to. I mean, really, if you think about it, you can jump off whenever. Jump off of that particular adventure and let events progress as they may from that point onwards. And they can switch to a different train at another point and just go on these scenic tours throughout the various vistas that you've laid out for them. But again, having that a bit of railroady goodness in with your sandboxing means that you're able to lay out cogent, sensible stories that they can travel down along, while still maintaining a level of freedom that otherwise railroading just doesn't quite allow for. It's definitely in your best interest to begin mixing both, and having a couple of adventure ideas ahead of time can certainly help with making things feel a bit more focused. One other thing I would say, if you have a particular story you want to tell, still go with this as a starting point. Figure out a way to make those small little details, those small points of conversation, the focal points, the entry points for that story. Maybe it starts off as something a little bit different than what you had imagined, but you can still loop and weave that in with your story and get them progressing down this larger chain of events. Every story starts off small, but then turns into some massive grandiose thing, some epic struggle against the forces of good and evil. All of these things are possible. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Hit that like or dislike button if you feel like I've either done a good or bad job at covering this. Let me know your thoughts below and we'll engage in discussion. And like I said before, if you're new here, go on down there and hit that subscribe button or like the video and share it far and wide. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.